A very good afternoon to one and all. It's our great privilege to welcome you all to this second session of Series 2. Today is our resource person, Professor M.J. Joshi, is going to talk on pyrophosphates as prospective material for nano devices. I take pleasure in welcoming Professor M.J. Joshi. Welcome you, sir. Now the session is over to you.
Now, can I share the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this new session. Hope you all had a nice lunch, and also I had a very nice lunch. It's a really problematic to hear a person after always boring one, because after having a delicious lunch in this mango season, it's really troublesome to attend the lecture. This reminds me a very good joke. One professor was working in a jungle, in a thick forest. He was a nature lover, and he was working in a thick jungle, and he met a tiger, and he was scared that he was alone without even a stick, and he encountered a tiger. So how he would manage the situation? Then professor introduced himself that I'm a professor, and if you want to eat me, you can eat me, but I will give you uh, post lunch lecture. And Tiger was so much scared that he spared the professor, because post lunch lecture is so boring. Even Tiger did not like it, and he spared the professor that I don't want to eat you. If you so, this is a difficult situation, but anyhow, we are enjoying it, and just we are enjoying the situation also. Unfortunately, the cyclone problem is there at our place, and we may have intermittent sometimes in network problems. So kindly forgive me for that intermittent network problems. So now I'm coming to the today's second lecture topic, that the pyrophosphates are prospective materials for nano devices. Now, the pyrophosphates are very important material. In my morning talk, I talk about the hydroxyapatite. And this biomineral is used at the different places, and particularly in biomedical engineering. Pyrophosphates are similarly very important materials. And mainly these materials are having applications in biomedical field. But I have chosen this particular topic. The title is Prospective Material for Nano Devices. Yet it is an unexplored field, and very less work is being carried out in pyrophosphates, particularly to make nano devices. And I just remind one story that one PhD student approached me and said, "Sir, no references are available. It's very difficult to work because nobody has worked in this particular material, and references are not available." So he was feeling uncomfortable because no references were available, and how to manage with that new material. Then I just told him that you are a lucky person that no references are available. Whatever you are doing, that is new to the world. So whenever you are encountering a new material, it's your luck that you may strive to a new device or a new experiment. And that is why I have used the word prospective material for nano devices. Only few references are available, for pyrophosphate materials. So that is why I have used the word prospective material. Now, let me come to the first slide. The pyrophosphates. What are the pyrophosphates? So the definition says that the anion, the salts and esters of pyrophosphoric acids are known as pyrophosphates. And the word obtained from prefix pyro is derived from Greek, means that fire in this context, and has been assigned. And general formulation is M4 P2O7. M is a tetravalent. Another is M2 P2O7. M is divalent, and mixed valence is also available. So mainly we are focusing in this talk metal pyrophosphates. We are not going to touch the other pyrophosphates because organic compounds are also available, but that makes the talk very, very lengthy. So we'll be just focusing on the metal pyrophosphates. Now, calcium pyrophosphate is the first one. Calcium pyrophosphate is very popular one. So general formulation is C2P2O7, and it appears as a white powder. And crystal system available are orthorhombic, monoclinic, and triclinic. So three different systems are available. The physical properties are it is insoluble in water. Melting point is 1353 degrees Celsius, non-inflammable, available in non-hydrate, dihydrate, and trihydrate forms. So different hydrated forms are available. Now these are the crystal structure diagram, and they viewed in different axes only. So this is calcium pyrophosphate dihydrate. My student have written, and that was published in 2017, where we have mentioned about the different pyrophosphate compounds. Now we come to the crystal forms. So calcium pyrophosphate has three different forms. It is alpha CPP, calcium pyrophosphate, beta CPP, and monoclinic CPP. And these are the three different structures I have shown over here, that beta CPP, alpha CPP, and monoclinic CPP. The structures of both alpha CPP and beta CPP contain pyro groups P2O7, which consist of two corner shared PO4 tetrahedra with the POP angle of 130 degrees, and alpha CPP, and angles are 131 and 135 degrees for beta. Now in alpha CPP, the calcium ions coordinate with 8 oxygen atoms, and a chain of edge shared calcium polyhedra form sheet parallel to the perpendicular to the AC plane. The coordination number of calcium in beta CPP are 7, 8, and 9, and each pyrophosphate group is linked by the commonly shared calcium atom, forming the pyrophosphate calcium chelate like a chain. So these are the particularly the beta CPP and monoclinic CPP, and these are the references for. We are coming to the application part of calcium pyrophosphate. Now, the popular application is, as usual, it's used in a catalysis or catalyst. Non-stoichiometric calcium pyrophosphate catalyst with a calcium and phosphorus ratio of 0.76 was found to be the most efficient catalyst among the synthesized series, with 100% lactic acid conversion and 78% acrylic acid conversion at 375 degrees Celsius. So it is used for the lactic acid and acrylic acid conversion. So basically, pyrophosphate used for catalysis. So there are many more examples, but I have selected one example. Another example is dentifrices. So we use a toothbrushes. So in cleaning the teeth with toothbrush, it is customary to add to the toothbrush some cleaning material. And such cleaning materials are toothpaste or tooth powder. So we can use cleaning materials are toothpaste or tooth powder. One of the components of such a paste or powder is desirably an abrasive material, which cuts through the surface film formed on the tip and removes adherent stains. So calcium pyrophosphate is one of the popular materials. Small layer is formed on the tooth, and particularly that layer has to be removed for a perfect cleaning. And that for that particular purpose, dentifrices are used. And long back in 1956, the patent was filed, and this patent was filed by a famous company, Procter and Gamble. So from almost 60 years back or 65 years back, this dentifrices are used, and calcium pyrophosphate is very popular for that. Now, toxicity of dicalcium pyrophosphate. With advances in ceramic technology, calcium phosphate bioceramics have been applied as a bond substitute. And the biocompatibility of the particulate of various calcium phosphate cytocities are studied. So we have also material. So pyrophosphate, calcium pyrophosphate is also very popular material for bond substitutes. So beta dicalcium pyrophosphate and sintered beta dicalcium pyrophosphate were tested by osteoblast cell culture. And this cell culture medium is used, so transforming the growth factor 1 or TGF beta 1 is a polypeptide member of the transforming growth factor beta superfamily of cytokines. It is secretions, including the control of cell growth, cell purification, cell differentiation, and apoptosis. Now, this TGF beta 1 is used for testing the cytotoxicity of calcium pyrophosphate. Now, calcium pyrophosphate is for bone graft. So here on the right-hand side, the X-rays are shown. So beta calcium pyrophosphate combined with autograft is a effective as autologous bone for grafting during instrumented posterolateral spinal fusion. And there the grafts are used. So bone grafts are made up of beta pyrophosphate. So these findings suggest that beta calcium pyrophosphate bone chips can be used as a novel bone graft and for short segment posterolateral spinal fusion. So these are the posterolateral spinal fusion. These are the bone grafts that are used, and this is the spine. So posterolateral spinal fusion, these bone grafts are used, and that was this paper was published in 2011. Now, calcium pyrophosphate coatings. Calcium pyrophosphate coatings were successfully prepared by RF magnetron sputtering deposition. Thin films can be made by RF sputtering, and coating can be done on any particular subject desired. These results showed that magnetron sputtering of calcium pyrophosphate coating is a promising method for forming a biocompatible ceramic coating. So any particular metal or any particular material used for a human body that requires a friendly coating, and that friendly coating is done by calcium pyrophosphate using this sputtering or magnetron sputtering technique. So coating is done. So our body feels that it's a biomaterial, not a foreign material. Now, bismuth doped strontium pyrophosphate as a phosphor. And now we are coming to the application of other type of pyrophosphate. So strontium pyrophosphate is also a very important material. So scintillation materials have been used widely in either military or civil areas, but most of them emit light in the spectral range of ultraviolet or visible. So there are a few candidates with emission in the spectral range 650 to 1200 nanometer. So beta doped pyrophosphate or SRP207 doped by bismuth, which once exposed to X-ray can emit deep red peaking at 700 nanometer due to the typical 2p32 to 2p1/2 transition of bismuth. So deep red radioluminescence manifests that the potential application of phosphor as implantable scintillator, for instance, for other sensor material. So this is a very useful, particularly application of strontium pyrophosphate doped by therapy. And this reference is obtained, and the year of publication is 2015. Nano sodium nickel iron pyrophosphate. So this is a triple pyrophosphate. And tailoring the electrocatalyst through nano and the composition engineering to enhance the intrinsic and extrinsic electrolytic activity. So this is a novel activity for using the nanopyrophosphate. It's a mixed pyrophosphate, and that is used for a special important applications. And that application is very important nowadays. Robust and low-cost oxygen evolution reaction. So it is, in short, it is mentioned that OER. Electrocatalyst is an important in electrochemical water splitting technology. So we require oxygen for many purposes. And we know that now in a COVID situation, the patients badly require oxygen. So this particular reaction is helpful to generate oxygen, and that may be useful for a patient and even for emergency, even during transportation of patients through ambulances. This particular type of reaction and this particular type of devices may be helpful to provide oxygen. So this is a very important reaction nowadays. Sodium nickel pyrophosphate is proposed as a novel OER electrocatalyst in alkaline environment. The electrocatalytic performance of micron size, nanoscale, and Fe substituted phosphates very evaluated. So there are another is nanoscale sodium nickel pyrophosphate, and the last one is iron substituted, the sodium nickel iron pyrophosphate. So all the three have been evaluated. The synthesized sodium nickel iron pyrophosphate exhibits optimal catalytic activity with over potential of 300 millivolt at a current density of 10 milliampere per centimeter square and long-term durability with a continuous O2 generation over 100 hours in alkaline media. So it is up to 100 hours it can generate. So it is very, very useful nowadays. And that is why I have mentioned that for patients, it may be useful. Now I come to the next slide. Nickel pyrophosphate nanorods. The challenge is for the constructing a high energy supercapacitor and designing electrode materials with high performance. So nowadays we require a supercapacitor and fast recharging material. So a novel hybrid supercapacitor composed of battery type nickel pyrophosphate, one-dimensional nanorods, and capacitive type nitrogen doped reduced graphene oxide as redox added electrolyte. The nickel pyrophosphate one-dimensional nanorods revealed that The presence of the battery type redox additive enhanced the charge storage capability and cycling life as a result of microstructure stability. And the nickel pyrophosphate one-dimensional nanorods exhibited their maximum specific capacitance of 8120 microfarad per centimeter square to 5 millivolt per second, an energy density of 0.22 milliwatt hour per centimeter square, and the other parameters are given like that. So this is a next generation hybrid supercapacitor, and the synthesis and other devices are very recent one. One is of 2018, another is of 2019. So very recently, these supercapacitors were devised. Nickel pyrophosphate 2D on 2D nanostructures. Again, these are the device applications, nano device applications, and these are again used for supercapacitor. So a scalable strategy is developed for the preparing 2D on 2D nanostructures for high energy solid state asymmetric supercapacitors. So the self-assembled vertically aligned microsheets structured 2D nickel pyrophosphate is decorated nickel cobalt hydroxide to form 2D on 2D nanostructure array electrode. So this type of array has been designed. The resulting nickel pyrophosphate, nickel cobalt hydroxide 2D on 2D array electrode exhibits peak specific capacity of 281 milliampere hour per gram. And all these excellent capacities are given. And the cycling stability is over 10,000 charge discharge cycles and in the positive cycle range. So this is a highly stable one, and it can go up to a large charge discharge cycle. Nickel pyrophosphate graphite carbon nitrate, again a novel material for hydrogen production, because we had seen in earlier slides that oxygen generation, but equally hydrogen generation is also required, and that is done by water splitting. So novel metal-free amorphous nickel pyrophosphate modified graphite nanocomposites has been successfully prepared by facile Kensel processes. And this gives a very, very important hydrogen generation. So the resultant nickel pyrophosphate graphite reduced carbon nitride is evaluated as an excellent catalyst for photocatalytic hydrogen generation under visible light irradiation, and whose hydrogen generation is almost 5 and 37 times higher than the earlier reported one. So this is a very useful photocatalytic reaction to produce hydrogen. So this is shown in the again, it is the lithium iron pyrophosphate. This is also related to the energy. A pyrophosphate compound, lithium iron pyrophosphate, is synthesized by conventional solid state reaction. It is reversible. Its reversible electrode operation at cathode 3.5 volt versus lithium was identified with the capacity of 1 electron theoretical value of 110 milliampere hour per gram. Even for the cathode of 1 micrometer particle without any special efforts, such nanosizing or carbon coating. This compound and its derivative should provide a new platform for related lithium battery electrode research and could be potential competitor commercial olivine or lithium iron phosphate, which has been recognized as the most promising positive cathode, and that is for large scale application or plug-in hybrid vehicle. So this provides a novel material for battery cathode, and this can be used for lithium batteries for vehicles. Now we come to the next slide. sodium cobalt pyrophosphate for oxygen hydrogen generation. So we have seen in our previous slides the oxygen generation, hydrogen generation. But here we can do both. So water splitting, an assuring concept for future sustainable hydrogen oxygen production, is intensely dependent on efficiency of catalysts to promote the oxygen evaluation reaction or hydrogen evaluation reaction. One is OER, another is AGR. And aerosol assisted spray pyrolysis method was applied to synthesize hollow spherical powder possessing nanothick and electrocatalytic catalyst for OER application. The best sample synthesized was sodium cobalt pyrophosphate, reduced graphene oxide 50% weight, which required only 240 millivolt over potential to produce current density of 10 milliampere per centimeter square. So this research was recently reported in 2020. The ferric pyrophosphate in fortification of food. So now we are coming to another application. So iron deficiency is a global health issue affecting a significant population worldwide. Fortification of food with iron compound is widely used strategy to prevent iron deficiency, that is particularly known as anemia. To overcome sensory effects, water insoluble white color compound like ferric pyrophosphates are used to fortify infant cereals due to its low solubility even in the acidic medium. Nano-sized iron salts find potential applications in food fortification since solubility increases with a decrease in the particle size. However, limited knowledge exists about the effect on nanoparticles in biological system. So the present study addresses the efficacy of synthesized ferric pyrophosphate in its nanoform as a potential food fortificant in iron deficiency anemia as measured the toxicity in the rat model. So the experiment was done how to treat the rats with the anemia problem. The DNA magnesium pyrophosphate nanocomposite. This is again a drug delivery and sensing experiment. Now, rolling circle amplification. It is in short, it is known as a RCA, is a robust isothermal nucleic acid amplification method producing nanocomposites of DNA and inorganic magnesium pyrophosphate precipitates. So magnesium pyrophosphates are byproducts in many DNA reactions. So magnesium pyrophosphates are present. Although the conformation and structure of such nanocomposites impact applications, most studies of them have been performed at the end point after exposure to the treatment. A key result shows that secondary structures in RCA, means rolling circle amplification, products trap and partially protect magnesium pyrophosphate precipitates, and then that these reversibly released upon heating above a characteristic temperature defined by sequence of RCA product. So it shows that I think it traps and also it releases depending upon the temperature. And these findings provides a deeper mechanism in understanding of the synthesis and structure of DNA nanocomposites, which impacts applications of DNA nanocomposites in sensing and drug delivery. So it traps and also releases. So it can be used for the sensing and drug delivery purposes. And again, this is a recent citation of 2020. Another application is magnesium pyrophosphate during DNA synthesis. Now, DNA synthesis is a very important part. And on the right-hand side in the slide, PCR. PCR is a very popular word right now, PCR test for the COVID. So polymerase chain reaction, this is particularly the mechanism, that particular process, the PCR polymerase chain reaction. This work is devoted to studying the mechanism of formation of DNA containing microparticles during PCR test or PCR analysis. It was found that the pyrophosphate, a byproduct of DNA synthesis, and magnesium cations are required for their formation, as evidenced by the result of biochemical and electrochemical studies. So magnesium and manganese both are present, and pyrophosphate ions are also present. So manganese pyrophosphate or magnesium pyrophosphate, they are producing DNA reaction. LAMP result. Now, LAMP is a short form of loop mediated isothermal amplification reaction. So that is a full form. And on the right hand side, two different slides are shown. One magnesium ion is there, and DNA polymerase amplification is there, and shining the UV radiation. One on the left hand side, the calcine, that is the dye, and the Mn ion is there. And on the right hand side, the calcine dye and magnesium ion is there. So the magnesium pyrophosphate is precipitated by shining ultraviolet radiation. The calcine dye detection method of LMP product. So the dye calcine binds manganese ion and quench fluorescence. DNA polymerase LAMP results in the production of phosphate that binds the calcine bound ion as well as magnesium ion, resulting into two detection methods that indicates that LAMP reaction was successful or not. Calcine ion in the presence of UV, whether it binds the manganese or magnesium. The fluorescent emissions of calcine and or the production of manganese phosphate that forms the precipitate that is visibly detected. The presence of magnesium ion in the buffer system of the LAMP system will enhance calcine fluorescence. So magnesium pyrophosphate is very important in the DNA reactions. Now, magnesium pyrophosphate nanoparticles, DNA ending of nanoparticles. So many times the gold nanoparticles are used for decorating purposes. So again, we are using a LAMP reaction. So LAMP is again abbreviated loop mediated isothermal amplification reaction. So gold nanoparticles are used for decentralized nucleic acid testing by virtue of their simple visual readout and absorbance based on quantifications. Co-precipitation phenomenon between haloated polyethylene glycol and 11 Merck pound niconic acid, comedified gold nanoparticles and magnesium pyrophosphate crystals. These a new ultra-sensitive and simple DNA assay platform is developed. So when the gold nanoparticle probe is incorporated into LAMP reaction, it remains as a red dispersion for negative. Red dispersion is shown. In the cuvette, it shows as a red dispersion. But it appears as a red precipitate for positive samples. So on the right-hand side in a cuvette, it is a precipitation. And this results in the first of its kind gold nanoparticle based DNA assay platform, which is isothermal amplification and real-time monitoring capabilities. So again, magnesium pyrophosphate is playing a very important role. And here it is shown that magnesium pyrophosphate binds over here. Again, magnesium pyrophosphate is released over here. So these are showing the importance of magnesium pyrophosphate. Tetrasodium pyrophosphate. Now we have taken the different applications in energy, oxygen generation, hydrogen generation, then biomedical engineering. But the application is more important for our day-to-day life, that is in a food industry. So tetrasodium pyrophosphate is very important in various food products, such as emulsifying salt, coagulant, and sequestrant, and sequestrant. Now, this particularly shows the cheese. Cheese, they use tetrasodium pyrophosphate, and there are many references available. And Dairy Science and Encyclopedia for Dairy Sciences, they reported the tetrasodium pyrophosphate application. Lead pyrophosphate flux. Now, this is another novel application of a pyrophosphate. So, lead pyrophosphate is used as a flux material for growing crystals. Now, many times the crystals are grown by solution method, melt method, and different techniques. Now, for a layman, if you want to grow the crystals from solution, and we want to grow the crystals of sodium chloride, we take a sodium chloride and dissolve in water. And when we make a saturated solution, no more sodium chloride is dissolved in water. Then we allow it to evaporate. And after evaporation of water, beautiful chloride crystals are grown. But there are many materials which do not dissolve in water, even in alcohol and other solvents. For them, different pyrophosphates, different oxides, they are working as a solvent. So what people do, they take a platinum crucible and they heat different type of oxides and different type of pyrophosphate, and they make a solution, high temperature solution. And there they dissolve the material which they want to grow into crystal form. And after dissolving it, after cooling the crucible at a desired temperature, same process is taking place, which was taking place in case of sodium chloride growth in a water. Same process, but here we are using high temperature molten salts, and the crystals are grown. So molten salts are known as a flux. So lead pyrophosphate is used as a flux material in crystal growth of garnet, spinels, and other crystals. So this is again a very popular flux material, and schematic diagram is shown over here. The powder, the flux, and the grown crystals. So these are the grown crystals, and this is the rough arrangement of the setup where the platinum crucible in which the flux is there, and which is heated in a furnace, and after heating and at a suitable temperature, the flux is removed and crystals are obtained. So this is reported very long back in 1962. So I have covered the references right from 1953 to 2020. So different type of researches have been reported on metal pyrophosphate materials. Now there are different synthesis methods available. Those are similar to the one we have reported in morning for hydroxyapatite. So hydrothermal treatment, chemical sol gel, surfactant mediated thermal decompositions of phosphate. So all these different materials are there, and which we have reviewed in one of the review papers, which was published in 2017. Now, significance of dielectric study. Now, this is an important part for significance of dielectric study of metal pyrophosphate, and particularly calcium pyrophosphate material. Now, electric field can accelerate the healing of fracture bones, and electrical stimulation enhances the rate of bone growth for bone graft in spinal fusions. So these are the two references available, and people have used the electric field to enhance the healing processes. And there are our bone is having a ferroelectric nature because of the mineral and the organic compositions. So that is why the electric field accelerates the bone healing processes. And these references they have cited the particularly work on electric field enhanced uh, bone healing process. For this particular purpose, we have concentrated in our lab calcium pyrophosphate dihydrate nanoparticles, and we have synthesized the nanoparticles by surfactant mediated approach. So the TM image shows the left type calcium pyrophosphate and purposefully I report over here, I discuss over here the dielectric properties. Other properties we have studied, but the dielectric properties are interesting because those are having a direct applications in bone healing. So dielectric study shows a very interesting result that at different temperatures, as temperature, uh, different temperatures, the dielectric study is carried out. As the frequency increases, the dielectric constant increases. This is the typical behavior. And this is called because of whenever the alternating electric field is applied, the dipoles try to orient themselves with the applied electric field. But when the frequency increases, the dipoles cannot comply with the orientation of applied electric field. And that is why they lag behind. And ultimately, they show this steady state in nature. So at very high frequency, they don't show any other effect and they become almost constant, very high frequency. But at low frequency, different type of polarizations are effective, and that is why they show higher dielectric constant and high frequency. They show almost level up or the same value or saturation value. So another part is the complex modulus plots, where the real part and imaginary part of modulus, electrical modulus, they are plotted. And they show the grain and grain boundary. So here only one semicircle is observed, and that shows the grain effect only. And from this dielectric study, if one can apply John's power law, and from the different parameters obtained at different temperatures, one can identify which type of mechanism is prevailing. So large polaron quantum tunneling mechanism is prevailing for AC conduction. Now zinc dope nanopyrophosphate. Why zinc has been selected for doping in calcium pyrophosphate? Required for zinc is required for proper cellular and immune functions. As per the studies carried out, that zinc content ranges from 0.0126 weight percent to 0.0217 weight percent in our body. Zinc is the second most prevalent trace element in the body. And doping elements are generally chosen among the human body trace elements and for their biological activity. So zinc is Doppler reason. And these are the references where the importance of zinc is given in our body. These are the results of TEM and zinc dop nano CPPD or calcium pyrophosphate diet. And these are showing the powder oxide effectogram, and broad peaks are showing that the amorphization is taking place or the prodding is taking place. Now, the average particle size is from 0.4 to 40 nanometer, and they are almost spherically morphology. As the ion concentration increases, the distortion in crystalline lattice increases. And in order to minimize the energy, the surface interaction is taking place and agglomeration of different particles are taking place. So these results are published in one of our research paper in 2011. Now, dialectric study of zinc doped nano CPPD. Now, zinc doped samples and dielectric constant values are lower than the pure sample over 100 kilohertz range. And the small polarizability value of zinc and less ionic gray areas may be responsible for lowering in dielectric constant. And from the Johnson's power law, one could predict that large polaron quantum mechanical tunneling mechanism is prevalent in pure zinc and zinc 2% and of CPPD nanoparticle. But in the other two concentrations, in zinc 5 and zinc 10% doping of CPPD, doped CPPD, they have a correlated barrier hopping CBH mechanism prevailing for conduction. Again, the results are published in our earlier papers in 2011. Complex modulus studies, they show that the large semicircle arc in higher frequency region correspond to the grain boundaries, and small semicircle at low frequency corresponding to grain. So there's a grain and grain boundary contribution. So in a pure sample, you have a grain contribution. In a doped sample, you have a grain and grain boundary contributions. Then we have doped manganese in nano CPPD. The deficiency of manganese invites osteoporosis, and supplement of manganese improves bone healing. So it is a very important one. And this is the healthy bone, and another is osteoporosis affected bone. You can see that porosity increases in the bone. So the motivation of doping in nano CPPD is to achieve this health benefit. And the manganese health benefits are reported in 2013. The left-hand side is a TEM images of manganese doped CPPD, and the right-hand side shows the powder refractogram. The increase in temperature increases the number of dipoles having orientation, that increases the value of dipole. So as temperature increases, the dielectric constant increases. And from the Johnson's power law, the large polaron quantum mechanical tunneling mechanism is prevalent in pure, and a small polaron quantum mechanical tunneling mechanism is prevailing in manganese 2% doped CPPD. And again, in 5% and 10% doped CPPD, the quantum mechanical tunneling mechanism is prevailing. And after 90 degrees Celsius temperature, CBH mechanism is prevailing. So depending upon the temperature, there are two types of mechanisms are prevailing. And again, it is anticipated that above 60 degrees Celsius, the temperature increases, the thermology of molecule increases, and hence the amplitude of particular dielectric constant. The large semicircle, such as the grain, small semicircle, such as the grain boundary effect. And these are again shown in manganese doped CPPD nanoparticles, and they have a grain and grain boundary contributions. Now, magnesium doped nano CPPD. Why we have doped magnesium? Fourth most abundant cation in the human body, the 0.44 to 1.23 weight percent. Tooth enamel, dentin, bone contains the various percentage of magnesium. And over 100 enzymes, they require presence of magnesium. So that is why magnesium is represented in many research papers. Those are cited over here. These are the pictures of magnesium doped CPPD. And on the right-hand side, the powder oxide effectogram. And again, these are the particularly the dielectric constant at different frequencies. So variation of dielectric constant at different frequencies. And this 2% magnesium ion dopes PPD, the small polar and quantum mechanical tunneling mechanism. For 5% magnesium dopes PPD, quantum mechanical tunneling mechanism. At 10% magnesium dopes PPD mechanical tunneling mechanism, and thereafter the CBH mechanism is developed. So they depend upon the concentration and also on the temperature. So this mechanism changes with different type of doping as well as temperature. Again, same type of situation is shown that the large semicircle shows the grain effect, grain boundary effect, and small semicircle shows the effect of grain, and like that. The pure samples, they have a grain effect, and dope samples, they have a grain and grain boundary effect. So complex modular spectra suggest dominance of grain and grain boundary for magnesium ion doped CPPD nanoparticles. While for the pure CPPD nanoparticles, only grain contribution is found. Now we come to the some of the recent results, but I don't share any diagram, plots, and other things, because still these are under the process for publication. So important findings we found that nano nickel pyrophosphate, it is having a very high dielectric constant in terms of 1000, and high optical energy band gap, and high thermal missing photocatalytic activity, and it is used as an electrical material for cyclic voltammetry. So for supercapacitor, for photocatalytic applications, and for dielectric material applications, this material is found to be a very superior one. The second is a magnesium doped nanostrontium pyrophosphate. It is having a high dielectric constant, but comparatively lesser than nickel pyrophosphate, high optical energy band gap, and high thermal stability. And magnesium doped nickel pyrophosphate, it's a very high dielectric constant, high optical energy band gap, and high thermal stability. All these three different pyrophosphate compounds we have synthesized and studied, and they display very important properties. And the results are under the analysis and the process for publication, as well as for thesis presentation. So Mr. Solanki is yet to defend his PhD thesis. That is why I have not included his results. CPPD and pseudo gout. Again, a biomineralization process is coming into the picture. So calcium pyrophosphate deposition disease is a very important disease or ailment in articulate tissues. CPPD deposition can be completely asymptomatic and actually common in elderly people, in total finding of chronodialysis and radiographic imaging. So in a radiographic imaging, one can identify CPPD can induce strong inflammatory reaction clinically and pathophysiologically, similar to one described for gout. So this is a one type of arthritis produced by CPPD or pseudo gout. And these clinical syndromes encompassed under the definition of CPP deposition disease. So this has been reported by two authors in 2014 and 2017. CPPD induced pseudo gout, again a health related issue. So formation of calcium pyrophosphate diastole in soft tissues such as cartilage, meniscus, synovial tissue lead to CPPD deposition disease. The appearance of these crystals in synovial fluid can give rise to acute arthritic attack with pain, inflammation of joints, and condition called pseudo-gout. So this is a particularly the deposition is taking place. These are the crystals getting break, and they produce lot of pain, inflammation. And this is a cartoon that shows that the pain is taking place because of the pseudo-gout, and the person is just screaming with the pain. And these are the crystals of calcium pyrophosphate grown in a gel medium. I'll explain gel medium in my morning talk, where we have grown hydroxyapatite crystals. Here we have grown calcium pyrophosphate crystals. Now, calcium pyrophosphate crystals grown in gel medium. So, monoclinic calcium pyrophosphate crystals are grown by the gel method at room temperature and characterized by dielectric and thermal studies. So, gel is a sodium metasilicate gel. It is set by adding a suitable acid. So, once the gel is set, then on the top of the cell set gel, suitable solution is added without disturbing the gel, and that solution diffuses into the porous medium of gel. And a reaction is taking place in a porous medium of gel between the two reactants, and they produce a crystal. So these crystals are grown in a gel medium. And this is the photograph. The small crystals are grown in a gel medium. And the paper is written by us in Crystal Research and Technology in 2007. Now, in vitro growth inhibition of CPP, so calcium pyrophosphate. And in morning talk, we have mentioned about the hydroxyapatite. The hydroxyapatite crystals are inhibited by using different herbal extracts. So the same type of herbal extracts we have used over here. So herbal extracts are Borhevia diffusa, Arava lanata, and Rotula aquatica, and Boswellia serrata. All the 4 different herbal extracts, they are obtained from these herbal plants. And these are the photographs of herbal plants. So these herbs, they are widely available in our country. And the different parts from these herbs are used for preparing herbal extracts. So sometimes leaves, sometimes stems, sometimes flowers. So depending upon the advice from Ayurveda experts, we can select a part of the plant, and then we can prepare herbal extract, and we can do the pilot study under which condition the crystal growth can be reduced or crystal growth can be stopped. And that is a very positive sign. So that can be used for the treatment or relief in the particular disease. And these are the in vitro results. These results are to be replicated in animal model. So there, the small crystalline materials are injected in the subcutaneous muscle of an animal that produces inflammation, and then drug is injected, and how the inflammation is subsided, and depending upon that, the animal gets relief. And that model gives the exact relation that how animal model can be successful. But this is a painful process, so animal is not to be troubled. These are the pilot studies. If pilot studies are successful, then only those things are tested on animal rather than testing on other plants on the animal. So these are the very important collaborative work. Now I come to the concluding remarks. As I have mentioned in my title of the talk, these are the prospective materials. So very less research has been done on the nano devices, but plenty of opportunities are available to fabricate nano devices on this nano pyrophosphate material. So it's a great challenge available to develop more and more applications for this material. So metal pyrophosphate compounds are synthesized by different methods. Metal pyrophosphate finds applications in different fields such as biomedical, energy devices, catalyst, food materials, electrochemical separations, fluorescence, implant materials. So majority of applications are till today in a bulk form, but slowly nanomaterials and nano devices are getting popularity. Plenty of scope is available for new research. Now, these are our contributors. Dr. Ashok Vaidya, as I mentioned in my morning talk, he's a very senior. He's over 80, but still very active. He's a well-known clinical pharmacologist of our country, and he obtained his MD PhD from Yale University, an internationally recognized medical scientist. So he is collaborating in his study. Dr. Bharat Parekh, he is a faculty in PDPU Gandhinagar, Pandit Deen Dayal Petroleum University. Dr. Sanal Vasant in Government Engineering College as a faculty. Mr. Pushpakant Solanki, he has to defend his PhD thesis. He is a legal metrographic scientist in the legal metrological department. And our acknowledgements are to all contributors. Department of Biotechnology for the funding, UGC for SEP, and DSP for test. And last slide, thank you very much. This is our physics department. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open for the discussion. Participants, please unmute yourself and you can ask one by one questions. Any question? I think, sir, no questions from participant side.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
I'll do one thing, sir. I will collect some questions. Yeah. If they have any questions, sir, I will collect from them and I will email you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And further, after getting response from you, I will forward to them.
Okay, fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Even in the this climatic situation, you were with us for both the sessions and successfully we have completed. So thank you very much, sir.
It was my pleasure, sir.
And
it was my pleasure, sir. And I'm very much thankful to you and the Institute for inviting me. And it's a great opportunity that on virtual platform, we all meet and discuss and participate. Even in this pandemic situation, even in these cyclonic conditions, we could successfully do it. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next, I thank all the active participants for the session 1 and session 2. And I could see many participants on the YouTube also. So thank you very much. So today we have completed both the sessions with Professor Joshi, and sir has given very excellent talk where he has given some knowledge about the hydroxyapatite and pyrophosphates with their applications. So once again, thank you very much, sir. And thank you, participants. Now, tomorrow we have 2 sessions. So one from one hour speaker, Professor Prakash Jadhav, and second speaker, Dr. M.V. Reddy. So I request all the participants to join tomorrow morning, 9:45 a.m. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.